Okay, may I have a motion to move back into regular session?
So moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
May I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I'll make the motion with a modification. I'd like to remove, under item 10, letter I, the policies, hold that over to next month, and letter M for the acting assistant super.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, we have an agenda. We now have presentations. John, there are no presentations tonight?
No,
Okay.
I was gonna tell you 7.
Yeah, right. It is now public comment time. If you'd like to say something to the board, just raise your hand and I'll recognize you and you'll tell Julie your name. Yes, ma'am.
Lauren Heath.
We're on camera and we found out the new microphone needs a lot of emphasis.
I was wondering if you vote to approve the foreign exchange student policy tonight, if it would be possible to allow exchange students this year.
Normally the policy says May 1st, but in light of the fact that this was the first year with the change, if you were to approve that policy tonight, we would be okay with that if you wanted to do that. Otherwise, you have to wait till another school year for foreign exchange.
I think the intention of the board was to get it going as quickly as
Yeah.
possible.
I'd be okay
So,
with that
yeah,
policy.
so we'll do that tonight.
But you took the board policy.
But
Any-
we took it off, so
took the
do we need to make a motion?
Make a
put that
motion to
one
add
back
it?
on?
Let's make a motion to add it back in, sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Can we be very specific about that?
Yeah,
policy?
I gotta find it.
Policy.
Yeah, it would be 239.
Policy 239?
Mhm.
Okay, I'll make a motion to add policy 239 back to the agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you for bringing that up. Other public comment? Hands? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Jacqueline Kazuski. I just had a question about the health and safety the changes.
Mhm.
So I noticed under the vaccinations to school communities, you took out the on-site vaccination, whatever. It just says DVSD will continue operating our school building as a site for vaccinations. Is that still gonna be after hours, not during school hours?
Same policy as last year.
Yes.
Okay.
And I believe it,
And if you
wording was
actually
added to say,
see, yeah,
as
it says
approved by the
upon,
board.
any type would have to become before the board for approval.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Carrie Williams from Matamoros, and I wanted to begin here just by bringing up the issue of the curriculum committee, which we formed a year ago. And I need to say that at the beginning of this year, that I hope we can have a curriculum committee which is more effective and efficient. I very much appreciate Pam Lutfi. I was able to have some give and take with her, and that was helpful. However, it was insufficient in that we were not really given the transparency which as parents and taxpayers that I believe that we are entitled to. And also when I requested a book, it took almost 2 months to be able to taxpayers. We have concerns and we have a right to know, what is being presented. And also for the record, I spent considerable amount of time making a video that I sent to every member of the board, and I thank Jack for your feedback, and it seems that we have some things in common in terms of perspective. And there really are reasons to have concerns with what is coming down from the federal government and the state in terms of what is being presented to public schools. And so I really hope for more transparency and an opportunity to participate, not just always in a public setting. Even though I was told I was part of the curriculum committee and my name was put on as part of a group, there was never any opportunity for private give and take. That's why I made the video, because it was the only way I could actually express my concerns. So I'm hopeful that this year we can have more give and take in an effective manner.
Thank you, Carrie. The video was done very well, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate your efforts on that. Anyone else? Mr. Contreras.
Matthew Contreras, Milford Township. Before I start, I just want to say good luck to Dr. Bell in his new endeavor. We don't agree with everything, but I do wish you the best of luck. So I have some questions, and I'll submit them to Ms. Ewald in the email form so you can distribute them. So the first question I have has to do with some Title IX implementation. What is the Dvsd plan for Title IX implementation? And does Mr. Lordy plan as the Title IX officer giving a presentation to the district or to the board on plans for Title IX here in the district? I know you've already voted as a board on some of the Title IX policy, but I don't think the public really knows what those policies are, what could be coming down from the federal government. I know the state has some views on it, and of course, you know, Corey understands these things being at the college level. So I'm interested if that's gonna happen. I don't know, does anyone have a quick answer to that? Or
We can
I don't know
put Title IX on the agenda.
Okay.
Yep.
Are biological males allowed in the girls' bathrooms and locker rooms in Dvsd? And if so, what are the security measures that are in place to prevent sexual assault?
So I believe we have a policy on that. I don't know the number right offhand.
Are biological males allowed to be in the girls' bathrooms and locker rooms is my question.
So you're saying biological by
They were born biological males, yes.
whether they're transgender or not, that you're not asking about?
I'm not asking that question, it has nothing to
So
do
what does the
with
law
gender.
tell us on this, Counselor?
People are allowed to use the bathrooms that they identify with.
People are allowed to use the
So
bathrooms?
the
that-
answer is yes, biological males are allowed to be in
If that's
girls'
how you
locker
wanna
room.
take the
Okay, thank
answer.
you very much. I only have 5 minutes, so I'm gonna continue to press on. Thank you. Is gender identity taught in any of the classes, especially sex education classes, K through 12 in Dvsd? If yes, what classes and what specifically is being taught about gender identity?
Okay, so we would need that time to answer that question. It's a very complex question.
Certainly, would you prefer it in a
So-
right-to-know request?
Absolutely.
No, right?
I think that you said you were gonna
They don't
submit
want it.
your questions to
Yeah.
Julie so that we could make sure
Yeah.
that
Not a problem.
they're being answered.
Okay. Does Dvsd have a policy regarding pronoun usage? If so, what is it, and what are the disciplinary consequences, if any, for misgendering people?
Okay, so once again, that's a legal question in terms of pronouns.
Well, it's a policy question, it's not really a legal question.
Well, I'm not sure we have a policy that addresses pronouns exactly. We have a policy that addresses transgender.
So just submit the questions.
Submit the
and
question, yeah.
I'll get an answer, okay, thank you. Does the district plan on making a presentation regarding learning loss or learning gaps, as Ms. McNeely likes to preferably call them? As it promised back in January, does the district plan on making a presentation from the guidance department, as it also suggested back in January, about learning loss?
We have been learning about learning loss. Would you like us to have a
Is it-
presentation?
is it
We
going
can
to
have,
be-
we can have Vicky.
Is there gonna be a presentation for the public, I guess is my question, and for the board, so that the public can know that the board is getting certain facts,
If it-
that they
if
need
it-
to make determinations about policy and
You
procedures.
can request that they put it on the agenda.
Okay, so if you'd like that on the agenda, we can do that the following.
Well, I guess, you know, the issue that I have within my 5 minutes is that yes, I'm a member, a taxpayer of the public, I'm asking, but it would be nice if the board asked these questions of the district also, since these are questions that are also circulating throughout the community. What is the number of undocumented alien children in Dvsd for 2022? Were there, and what are the numbers from 2015 to present, if there are any?
We're not sure offhand, so you can submit that question too.
Okay. What is the district's plan, if any, regarding this population specifically?
Well, my understanding is any child in this district who's eligible for education is gonna get educated.
And that's all it is. And the funding will come from what pool of money?
It'll come from taxpayer money.
Right, what specific pool of money will that be?
There is no specific, you know how the budget works.
So my other question has to do with an agenda item you have on the agenda that you would approve. You're looking to approve the next superintendent for DV through a search process with the Pennsylvania School Board Association, is that correct?
That's on the agenda tonight, yes, you're
Okay.
correct.
So can I ask, why do we have to involve a PSBA in a school search for the superintendent? Can't the school district do it on its own? The PSBA is a very progressive organization that's chock full of diversity, equity, and inclusion all over its website. And,
I could chime in there, Matt.
yeah, go ahead.
So any organization like this, we'll see all resumes, the board will, there won't be no vetting, pre-vetting of resumes before we see them, so we'll be able to see everything. They're gonna help with sending information out, helping to organize the search process and working with the board. So I think everybody's fairly comfortable with that and the fact that they're not doing any pre-vetting before we see, so then your concern won't happen. So,
And we used PSBA in the past.
yeah.
Next, please, that's 5 minutes. Anybody else from the public?
I've got a quick comment.
Yes, sir, what's your name?
Rob Lemay,
Rob.
Township. I just want to say thank you to Dr. Bell for a lot of years of hard work, and appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Oh, Rosemary, there you go. Sorry.
No, I'm just reading that whether folks can say anything or not. I saw on the agenda that you are changing the substitute pay for people that are in for 45 days, and I greatly appreciate that as a former substitute. I think that when you're working in a classroom for 45 days, doing all the parent conferences, the lesson plans, the grading, everything else, you definitely deserve to be put on step. So thank you very much for that.
You're welcome. Any other hands? If not, may I have approval of the minutes from the regular board meeting, July 14th, 2022?
Motion, second.
Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Reports tonight. We have no student representatives yet, but I imagine next month Dr. Blum will be bringing us some of our fine students. There are no administrative reports tonight either. Financial reports, any comments on the financial reports? Okay. Dr. Bell.
Okay, just have a few things for you. Summer cleaning and all the summer projects are coming to a close to be ready for the start of the new school year. Fall sports started back on the 15th. They're all up and running. If there are any middle schoolers out there, we're still looking for middle school athletes on a whole host of teams. The numbers are certainly down from pre-pandemic times. So we welcome kids. If you're in middle school and you still want to play sports, it's not too late to come out and play. And that will help prevent us from having to possibly merge any teams between the middle schools. So we'd love to have teams in both middle schools and not have to collapse them. New teacher orientation will be next Tuesday, the 23rd. Our teachers and other 10-month staff return next Thursday, the 25th. On the 26th, we have a full day of in-service training, and I want to give a shout out to Dr. Pope and his group of people who put together a really awesome in-service day on Friday, the 26th. And then, of course, we're looking forward to the kids being back on Monday, the 29th. And I just want to say thank you to the board for everything for 10 years. I really appreciate it. It was a dream come true to come back to DV back in 2012. And I especially have to thank these two, my compadres here, for helping me keep my sanity, especially when we were in the middle of COVID and we were the only ones here. You know, it was like a ghost town and we were trying to run everything from here, and it was something I'll never forget. So thank you to everybody. It was a pleasure.
John. Just to piggyback on John's presentation, the board has a presentation to John tonight also. I just want to point some things out about the last 10 years. I wish Jack O'Leary were here because for the last 10 years, John has worked on our physical plant in a number of different ways. He was the one who finalized and opened the new Delaware Valley Elementary School, a tremendous accomplishment. He was the one who designed and helped design the Career Tech and STEM Center. And like I said, Jack O'Leary was heavily involved in all of this. I'm kind of subbing in for Jack tonight since I know nothing about construction. But John also helped us with the new athletic wing, and the stadium improvements were also part of your plan. And lastly, there's a new multi-purpose room about to open probably after John leaves. But we're going to invite him back to cut the ribbon that night, and that should be within the next 30 days. Brian?
Thank you, Jack. We also, you know, Delaware Valley School District is a jewel of our community. It's a real treasure, and there's a lot of different ways that manifests itself in the physical plan and academics and so forth, but there's some cultural improvements to our that makes this district shine in our community and makes us all work effectively And we've got a list of those, John. John has been busy establishing professional learning communities for our educators to stay in contact and communicate with other professionals effectively. He established every Friday we get in our mailbox a week in review for our board to stay in contact and communicate with the administration effectively. Establishing the Leader in Me, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People for our students to learn how to live effective and successful lives. Hiring outstanding young teachers for long-term stability. Negotiating professional and staff contracts for long-term stability and morale improvement. And lastly, leading the way, well, not lastly, because there's so many more we could come up with, but leading the way on keeping taxes low while balancing the budget with effective planning.
Corey, would you like to pick up on that?
I will finish it off with the academics, which is the most important part of any superintendent's job. Under Dr. Bell's leadership over the last 10 years, we've seen increases in advanced placement curriculum to 30 programs, and nobody in the Northeast Pennsylvania district has come close to that, so I think that should be celebrated. Increasing Chromebook laptops to 1 per child. Increasing dual enrollment with colleges, which has increased over 50%, saving parents money, but most importantly, saving students time to completion, and then helping students get into college with persistence and things along those lines. Our recognition as a top school in America by the U.S. News and World Report rankings multiple times, I think it's almost every other year at this point, which is phenomenal. And then recognition as a top school for music in America multiple times as well, complete with a marching band.
That's my add on there, John. Complete with a marching band. So at this time, we have a gift for John on the board. There's a card there, and if you want to open it now, why not? In our minds, you will always be a warrior, and you have been a warrior for the past 10 years. So hopefully somewhere in your wall of things, you can put this very large.
It's a picture of all of us.
Yes. About what it means to be a warrior.
Thank you very much, everybody. I really appreciate it very much. So it doesn't say DV on it, so I guess I can hang out my Borduras.
You noticed that, but it is black and red. So. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Bell. We'll miss you next month.
Thanks, buddy.
All right. So we will move on to the treasurer's report. May I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
So, second.
Any questions, comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. May I have a motion to accept the bills for payment, which include the general fund, the cafeteria fund, and the 2021B capital projects fund?
Motion.
There we go.
Second?
Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. May I have a motion to approve the personnel items, including resignations, appointments, change of status, change of salary, and change of effective date, with the retirements accepted with much regret, John. We know it is a retirement for you. Motion, please.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. May I have a motion for the approval of additional volunteers per your attachment?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. May I have a motion for the approval of bus drivers and corresponding routes for the 2022-2023 school year per the attachment? Motion, please.
Motion.
Second.
John, any major route changes?
No, it's pretty, because our attendance, our enrollment is pretty stable. There's no significant changes.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. May I have a motion for the approval of concurrent enrollment agreement between the Delaware Valley School District and the Sussex County Community College?
And I'll be abstaining from that one.
Sure. Motion, please.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor say aye, with Corey's abstain.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, this is a long one. May I have a motion for the approval of the change orders for the high school multi-purpose room, LH Reed and Sons Plumbing, cost increase for projected award, delay from receipt of bids to contract execution and delayed start, $5,541. Mar Paul Company, general contractor, cost increase for project award delay for receipts of bids to contract execution, $65,987.82. Mar Paul Company again, general contractor, hardware revisions above the base bid, $2,217.86. The Master Mechanical Corp., high vac contractor, cost increase for projected award delay from the receipts of the bids to the contract execution, $12,109.36. Walsh Electrical, our electrical contractor, cost increase for project delay from receipt of bids to contract execution, $3,053.63. Walsh Electric, again, electrical, who added circuits to some of the existing conduit runs above the base bid, $5,820.24. Motion, please.
Motion.
Second.
Any comments from the board on these change orders?
Yeah, I have a question. So am I understanding correctly, this cost is in addition to the original? So-
This is above the base bid.
Okay, can you explain the $65,000?
Yes, if you
Expenditure.
recall, the project was delayed because the approval from the Department of Education took longer than expected. And then it pushed it to the point, and then we had supply chain issues for certain products, and then we didn't want to leave what'd you call it, when they started excavating, they didn't want to leave the big hole in the ground before the winter came, so they couldn't start construction in November, they had to wait until March. So it was a series of things that created but mostly the delay from the approval of the project.
If we were just doing it with our money, we could have put it, as soon as we accepted the bids, we could have started construction. There might have been some gaps with things missing and stuff, but because we were using the federal funds to build it, we had to get that special PDE approval, and that really dragged us out. And so they were all waiting, and you know what happens, every month, the price of stuff kept creeping up. So that's what that was. But when you're using, it was better than using our money, it's better to use the federal funds.
So it wasn't necessarily an increase in materials, like was it punitive to us because of the wait? Like, was it like, not fines, but
We
punitive?
awarded bids and then told people you can't start yet, because when they came out with all these rules on how to use the federal money, we had to wait for PDE approval, so they were chomping at the bit to get going, and they couldn't get going until PDE.
And building materials went up substantially.
Yeah.
So they more or less charged us a
And I'll give you an
delay,
example too.
delay in action?
Of how, because we held them up, and I'll give you an example. We, unrelated to that project, but the track project, to give you an example, we have a red track, and we were gonna replace it with a red track. And then after, several months later, before they came out to do the actual work, the coaches said, we might like to go back to a black track. Could you find out if there's a cost difference? And I said, sure. So in the time that they quoted the price for the red track to the time that they quoted a black track, it would have been another $50,000, because that was the craziness of, with supply chain issues, everything was going up and up and up. And they said, even if you had black originally and you asked for red 6 months later, it would have been $50,000, because just the cost of the track went up $50,000. So we said, forget about it, we'll stick with red, so we don't spend the $50,000. But that's how crazy things are when you had to wait. You know, and I'm sure if you're doing anything at your home, you're seeing the same kind of craziness. And hopefully it'll normalize.
Thank you.
Sure.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. May I have a motion for the approval of the listing agreement with Keller Williams Real Estate from August 19th, 2022 through February 28th, 2023 for the property tax ID 135.00-01-10.001 located in Dingman Township. We typically call it the Mark Quinn property. May I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion
Aye.
carries. May I have a motion for the approval to appoint Mark Mowglia as Delaware Valley School District School Safety and Security Officer as per Act 44 of 2018.
So
Motion,
moved.
please. Brian, thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Christine. Any questions, John? Maybe you want to just explain a little bit of this, or Chris?
I'll let Chris do it, he'll do
Okay.
it with a smile on his face,
Yeah.
because he used to have this title.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was part of the Act 44 a couple of years ago when the state came out and made mandates that there had to be some type of administrator or chief of police involved with the, on record with the school board, that we have to submit to the state. And with the hiring of the 9 new officers and rearranging some job duties, Mark has taken that over to be the representative for the district. So he will be the point person on all state reports for safety and security for the district moving forward.
Yeah. 3 new officers, nine altogether.
Yeah. We're not straight.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. May I have a motion for the approval of the 2022-2023 Health and Safety Plan per the attachment? Motion, please.
Motion. Second.
Any questions? All in
You
favor
want
say.
to talk, oh,
What?
Chris and I were talking before the meeting, and some of the wording in section, it's toward the end there. Thank you, Chris. Page 5, letter C, hand washing and respiratory etiquette. The first sentence right now says, to prevent the spread of germs during the COVID-19 pandemic, everyone should wash their hands, etc. So I suggested we take out that phrase during the COVID-19 pandemic. It feels more endemic at this point. So, and if we're doing a health and safety plan, hand washing is just a general good practice. So that paragraph would read, to prevent the spread of germs, everyone should wash their hands, and we're going to take out that COVID-19 reference, if everyone's okay with that.
Does Corey need to amend his motion?
We'll approve it with the adjustment.
With the adjustment?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry I didn't speak up sooner.
Motion to approve with that adjustment. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We have a motion for the approval of the PSBA liaison position for the 2022-2023 school year. I believe that's going to be Dawn.
Happy to do it again.
Thank you.
I think it's the 2 of us.
This is the liaison.
Oh.
Yeah, just
Oh,
the-
Yeah,
okay.
just the-
not
Oh,
the,
not the
not the
okay.
delegate.
Yeah.
I'm planning on going to that conference this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Motion, please.
Motion.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Okay, we are not doing the policies
We are
except
doing
for 239.
39.
Motion to accept policy number 239, which is item 28 on your list,
And we'll
27.
waive the May 1st deadline for this first year.
and we'll waive the May 1st deadline for this year. Motion, please.
Motion. Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. May I have a motion for the approval of Scott Zagara to work with Vivian Bruno to complete his social work internship for Marywood University for the fall and spring semesters. Motion, please.
Motion.
Second.
Any comments? All in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. May I have a motion for the approval of the additional Delaware Valley Adult and Community Education course and instructor fall of 2022 per the attachment. Motion, please.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. May I have a motion for the approval to appoint James Purcell as acting superintendent for the period September 1, 2022 through October 16th, 2022. Motion, please.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We have a motion for the approval to appoint Dr. Charlene Brennan as acting superintendent at a rate of $950 per day, starting on October 17th, subject to a finalized contract and Psba's approval. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. May I have a motion for the approval to appoint Pennsylvania School Board Association, PSBA, a superintendent search consultant at a cost of $15,000?
So moved.
Motion. Second.
Any conversation? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. In terms of our next meeting, it will be September the 8th. A work session, 6:30 PM. Notice 6:30 PM, please. Put it on your calendars, not 6 o'clock.
Oh, right.
Thanks for that.
6:30,
Thank
yep.
you.
6:30 PM. Delaware Valley Administrative Offices right here. And then September 15th, 2022, the regular board meeting will be held at the Shahola Elementary School, once again at 6:30 PM.
Which
Any-
probably means it's gonna snow.
If we're going to Shahola, it's gonna snow, yes.
Back to back.
Yeah. Any closing comments from the board?
I just had I know Jess had emailed about the Keystones and what that change was, and I think you said you were gonna ask Brian about what that change, like the passing and what that means for our seniors.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the Keystone Certificate?
Right.
Act 158 that was passed a few years ago basically gives seniors in Pennsylvania 5 pathways to graduate from high school. So one of the pathways is Keystone Proficiency, where they pass all 3 Keystone exams. Then there's Keystone Composite Scores, where you could not pass one but have a high enough total to pass. And then there's 3 alternative pathways for students to graduate as well. So what we have to do is we use a tracker through PDE, where we upload all of our students' testing data, and then we see what kids have met each of those criteria to know which ones need to have alternative pathways to graduate. So for example, Jess had asked about this year's senior class. 65% of the kids in the senior class are done just through the Keystones, that they've met that proficiency. And then you have another 15% that are done through the composite already. And then you look at the alternative 3 pathways for the other students that are left, which totals 44 kids right now. So what happens is in the fall, the guidance counselors will speak to every student to see where they're at with their tests, grades 9 through 12, but especially those seniors to say, you know, if you haven't met the Keystone pathways, here's your alternatives to get there essentially. And that's essentially what will be done throughout the year. We sent a letter home in February with every student explaining this. It had the different pathways on it. There was a Connect Ed call that was also done that week to all the families in the high school to explain this, except for seniors last year because it wasn't applicable to them. And there's going to be another call September 9th of this year to all families, basically explaining the same information. But the primary point of contact for any parent or any student that has questions about where their students are at is their guidance counselor.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Yep. Any other comments from the board? We are once again going to go into executive session right now to discuss personnel. Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Brian, can you and Vicky and Chris stay? We're going to talk personnel.